If you're losing a lot in what you're trying to do right now, just remember that it takes time to get better. Whatever you got to do, you got to figure out what problems to solve and what to practice to get there. I'm Dom Jackson, David A. Media, and this is the 7-Day Scoop Show, a weekly show where I document the process of my career. If you're a venture you're trying to pursue, this is where I tell my stories to motivate and help teach you. Currently in this new saga, like I said last week, started the tech training, but now there's been a different level where I have to sell stuff more now too. So it's like I have to learn how to tech and learn how to sell and keep sales the same way. So now there's like sales went down again. So now I have to figure out how to keep the sales up while also keeping the learning what I need to learn on the tech side. So it's been a fun venture there. With that, I had to think about how to handle these next set of problems to get to the next level. And thinking about it more like a sport has definitely been the best frame for me, because training physically has been one of the things I love the most to do. So figuring out how to sportify anything that I do is the best way to get things going for myself. And I hope it helps you too. And I hope it helps you out too. I remember reading Robert Greene's Mastery. In that book, he talked about a lot of different people throughout history who were masters of their craft and the little things that they did to solve the problems of the patterns that they saw consistently. And now I understand it. Well, at least I understand the concept of it now. So what I'm doing for myself and what I encourage you to do for you, if you have some problems or a venture you're trying to pursue, understanding what the individual problems are by looking at it long enough or doing it enough times, eventually you'll see like, oh, this is the issue, this is the issue, and this is the issue. And then once you have that set up, then it's like figuring out what things to practice to get the results you want. And thinking about it more like an athlete, or even like a painter, or like an artist, you have to figure out how to create the little things that make the answer to your problems. So what I'm doing now in the direct marketing space, sales is still the biggest part of what we're doing. So being able to, one, get someone's attention from a cold interaction, and then two, getting them to listen to me is the first step. Before, I was only tracking the amount of times I got people to go from being cold traffic to stopping in front of me. So that was part one, the stop. Then two, the pitch or the presentation. Then me verbally saying the pitch to them, what we do, da-da-da, da-da-da. That was two. And then three, if they sold or not. So I had 3 steps to do it. But now, well, since Sunday, which is yesterday, and going forward, I'm now tracking another metric, which is something that happens before the actual stop. And just taking that one step deeper, I'm now looking at another level. So I have another way of tracking success before they even get to the next phase. And you have to do something enough times to even know the levels of each game, but eventually you do find something. So just keep that in mind. So now I'm tracking my actual introduction to people. So I'll say, hey, I'm making car keys here. And I'll point to a sign, and they'll either say yes or no, like, oh, what's that? No, or they'll ignore me or whatever. But if I can get someone to at least to give me a no every time when they see me in the first interaction, like, hey, I'm making this, I'm doing this, and they'll be like, nah, I'm not interested. That's a win. Because at least I can, within the first interaction of 5 seconds, I communicated what I'm trying to do and what I want. And they'll just say yes or no. And they said no, that's great, to keep them moving. So I'm trying to find the people that need that next phase of yes. So now I'm tracking, if I can get 100 people to get a successful no out of, or at least 100 people to get a successful response out of, they know what I'm doing, I communicated effectively, I can win, because it's like, all right, step one, I weeded out the people that don't need it. So now I got to track every day. The goal is to get 100 of those every single day, and then get to the next phase and the next phase. So then it's going to be the stop, then it's going to be the presentation, and then it's going to be the sale. The next way to evolve as well, along with I'm in 3 training calls a week after work. So top person's doing their call, she teaches her team, and she lets other teams come on too, so we get to learn from her and her people, which is great, learning little insights, how they talk, how they communicate, how they think. Having someone who's done what you want to do and teach the people what you want to do is a great person to be around, because you know they can do it and they can do it often. It's a great way to learn on multiple levels, from the teaching point, from the being point, from the selling point, all the things go with it. Now, one of the things that she recommended that I'm doing now is I'm recording myself out there, and then I'm tracking. So for about 15 minutes, I'll just record it at a random time, either a popular time or a not popular time, to see what habits are taking place. And when I'm there, I'll hear, what my tone sounds like, how fast I'm talking, how fast the interaction is. Did I miss anything saying wise? Could I have said something better? And there's a lot of little data points. So for right now, it's just overall hearing, but I'm thinking about tracking how long the interaction is. So like, hey, it's a 2-minute interaction. It's a 1-minute interaction. How many times did I pause? How many times did I articulate every single thing? And did they acknowledge the articulation of every single thing that was said? And what was the result of that? So now having more data and feedback on how that's being done is like one of the next steps in my craft, so that I know what to practice outside the field. And getting to that next level of like obsessiveness is something that I really want to do, because everyone who I admire is very obsessed with their craft. And this being the craft that I'm in right now, I really want to work on my obsessive muscle. I've been trying to get it more and more done. And these are like the steps of me doing it. I know a lot of time people, I know I'll do big things and I'll be great, but you don't always get the people like doing it at this point, when they're in the weeds of like trying to figure out how to do it and then verbally saying what they're doing. So the main reason I want to do this is because like, hey, at least you can see where my head is and what I'm trying to do. And it's out here, like, on the internet forever. One, for anyone who wants to do what I'm doing, at least it's like, hey, here's where I was at, here's what I'm doing, this is where I'm going. And then for anyone out there who is trying something new, like they understand the, obsessive mentality, or anybody who just like, it's like, nah, it's crazy. Then it's like, oh, it's not that crazy when you see what I got there. It just makes more sense. But one more thing that's also being done to help out, I created an incentive structure. So, when you're trying to make more money, one thing you have to do is minimize your expenses and increase your cash flow. So with the sales job, getting better at sales, I'll be able to increase my cash flow. But then the next thing is lowering my expenses, because I got debt I got to pay off. I got things I got to fix. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things. I was in a hole before I got here, and now it's time to get out the hole. So, being at Costco, I can get a rotisserie chicken for $5. And between lunch and dinner, I could have about 4 meals with that chicken if I ate it with something else. So now it's like, if I get a $5 chicken, I'm only spending at max $25 a week. Then I can just live off that and like some bag of rice or vegetables, eat that consistently. So I'm only spending maybe $30 max a week on food, which puts me at $120 a month on food. Then I can just stack and use the rest of that money for everything else that I need to. But also to incentivize myself, because I'm out to eating some real plain Jane like lifestyle. But it's for the future. It's investing in yourself. I've also made up a rule system for myself. So let's say the goal, I'm gonna change the number just because it's business and it's not, I can't put the actual money out there. But let's say the goal for every week for me personally is $500. Every time I make $100, I sell $100 worth of product, I get $3 worth of like cheap points. So I usually just get a Costco pizza or like some ice cream or something. And now like I have a treat that I can work for to get every time I make a certain amount of money within the week. And I can save it up too. But it's like a new way of framing other things, so I can find other ways to keep myself, to gamify what I'm doing, so that you get rewards from doing things internally, but you have to have a certain skill set in it already for your brain to be like, oh, this is good, I'm getting better at this. Just to give an example, a lot of fitness things, if you train them often, you already know the feedback of like how you feel, the compliments, the highs. When you're just getting started though, it just all feels like hell. And I understand that, because like I'm getting better at this and I have things that I'm making out, but it still just feels like hell. Like I don't want to do this right now, which is fine. So I have to use things that I already have incentive for, like food that tastes good or just stuff. and make that the reward at the end, so my body knows, all right, I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna do this again. You damn right you're gonna do it again, because you're gonna figure shit the fuck out. But that's just the next thing. So like, one, figuring out what you need to practice. Two, creating your action plan to actually practice it. Three, having your rewards. That's like the way I'm breaking it down right now. So, I hope this helped you out. As always, take it one step at a time. We'll get there day by day.